Trump. Puerto Rico has thrown our budget a little out of whack. President Trump on Tuesday noted the enormous cost associated with the hurricane relief and rescue mission in Puerto Rico, saying at a meeting with officials in San Juan on Tuesday that the efforts had thrown our budget a little out of whack. The president appeared in good spirits as he went around the room praising officials in his administration and local leaders in Puerto Rico. When he arrived at Mick Mulvaney, John McMichael Mulvaney blamed both Democrats and Republicans. If we go broke. Schumer on DACA talks with Trump. We agreed on immigration framework. The debt ceiling is the best bad option we've got right now. Moore, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, Trump said in a jocular way that Mick is in charge of a thing called the budget. I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack because we spent a lot of money on Puerto Rico, and that's fine, Trump said. We saved a lot of lives. Trump singled out the governor of Puerto Rico, Ricardo Rossello, for praising his administration's response and allowed Puerto Rico's Republican resident commissioner, Jennifer Gonzalez-Colon, to speak. But he didn't mention the mayor of San Juan, with whom he has clashed. The Hill's Jonathan Easley has more. http://bit.ly/2 calls 6. Schumer to Trump. Stop blaming Puerto Rico for the storm. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Charles Chuck Ellis Schumer. Senate Dems hold floor talkathon against latest Obamacare repeal bill this week. Senate wrapping up defense bill after amendment fight. Cuomo warns Dems against cutting DACA deal with Trump. More. DNY pounced on President Trump Tuesday after he appeared to joke that Puerto Rico recovery efforts had thrown our budget a little out of whack. Mr. President, enough. Stop blaming Puerto Rico for the storm that devastated their shores, and roll up your sleeves and get the recovery on track. That's your job as president, Schumer told reporters during a weekly leadership press conference. Schumer added he didn't remember Trump complaining that Texas threw our budget out of whack after Harvey, or Florida after Irma. Schumer said Trump's remark, which come as Republicans are pushing tax reform, boggles the mind. http://bit.ly/2 Wells Fargo chief defends bank's progress in 10th Senate hearing. Wells Fargo CEO Timothy Sloan testified Tuesday that the embattled bank is on a positive track forward as lawmakers excoriated the bank for fraudulent sales practices involving up to 3.5 million unauthorized customer accounts. Sloan told the Senate Banking Committee that after great disappointment and transition at Wells Fargo, the bank has made significant progress toward cleaning up its consumer banking division. Wells Fargo is a better bank today than it was a year ago. And next year, Wells Fargo will be a better bank than it is today, Sloan said. The hearing Tuesday was Sloan's first appearance on Capitol Hill as Wells Fargo's chief, and comes after a year of deepening scandal for the San Francisco-based bank. Lawmakers from both parties criticized Sloan on Tuesday for the various scandals that had gone on allegedly without his knowledge, but the 30-year Wells Fargo veteran faced the harshest criticism from Democrats. You enabled this fake account scam, you got rich off of it, and then you tried to cover it up, said Sen. Elizabeth Ann Warren. Senate Dems hold floor talkathon against latest Obamacare repeal bill. Trump bets base will stick with him on immigration. Dems call for action against Cassidy Graham. Obamacare repeal. More. DMAS, a potential 2020 presidential candidate. At best you were incompetent, at worst you were complicit. Either way, they did not request our following assistance for response. Homeland Security is designated as the lead civilian agency protecting federal systems from cyber threats. The Hill's Morgan Chafant reports. http://bit.ly/2kjdzhc. Trudeau, Trump will talk trade next week. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will meet with President Trump at the White House next week to discuss a wide range of issues, including ways to strengthen their long-standing trading relationship. Trudeau will arrive in Washington, D.C., as the fourth round of the North American Free Trade Agreement NAFTA talks continue here, to discuss with Trump the importance of the economic relationship as well as international security issues. The United States is Canada's top economic partner, and it's important that we continue to work together to strengthen trade, investment and economic opportunity for people on both sides of our border, Trudeau said in a statement. I look forward to discussing with President Trump how to enhance our mutual prosperity and security, he said. The Hill's Vicky Needham has more. http://bit.ly/2kjjnzx. Top Treasury aide flew to Palm Beach on private jet with hedge fund billionaire aide. Top aide to Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. Stephen Turner Nickine overnight finance CBO to release limited analysis of Obamacare repeal bill. DOJ investigates Equifax stock sales. House weighs tougher rules for banks dealing with North Korea. Week ahead in finance. Clock ticking for GOP on tax reform. More former classmates of Mnuchin call on him to resign. More flew on a hedge fund billionaire's private jet earlier this year, The Washington Post reported Tuesday, the latest instance of a Trump administration official using private travel with potential work implications. Eli Miller, Mnuchin's chief of staff, flew to Palm Beach, FLA, several months ago with Nelson Peltz, a founding partner of investment group Tree and Fund Management, on Pell private jet, according to the Post. The exact date of the trip is unclear. Palm Beach is home to President Trump's Mar-a-Lago Golf Club, where Trump often spends weekends and huddles with top advisors. The Post noted that Peltz also has an estate in Palm Beach reportedly worth at least $100 million. The Treasury Department confirmed Miller's flight with Peltz to the newspaper, saying the senior aide and the New York hedge fund manager are longtime friends. The Treasury Ethics Office advised Mr. Miller that he was permitted to accept a seat on a plane from a friend with whom he has a pre-existing relationship under federal ethics law, a Treasury spokesman told the Post. http://bit.ly2kiz. Google critic takes on tech giants. Barry Lin has been pushing the government to crack down on corporate power for 16 years, but his ideas never received as much attention as when they cost him his job at a Google-sponsored think tank. After parting ways with New America over the summer, Lin has launched a new, independent group to raise awareness about the threats posed by corporate giants. Lawmakers are increasingly willing to confront tech leaders on a growing list of issues, and Lin's transition comes as authorities are investigating whether Russians used Google, Facebook and Twitter to sow division during last year's election. I think people are understanding just how poorly structured these institutions are, how sloppily they were built, Lin tells The Hill. It's not just a matter of the fact that these people have too much power, it's also that they are sloppy in the use of their power. Harper Nidek has more from his conversation with Lin. http://bit.ly2kkrhcm. White House official calls for ending Social Security numbers as means of identification. The White House's cybersecurity coordinator, Rob Joyce, is calling for the end of Social Security numbers as a national identification code. I believe the Social Security number has outlived its usefulness, he said Tuesday, The Washington Post's Cybersecurity Summit. Joyce on Tuesday listed a number of problems with the reliance on Social Security numbers to verify Americans' identities, including the inability to change the numbers after they've been stolen. It's a flawed system that we can't roll back after a breach, he said, pointing to a lack of secrecy in the way the numbers are stored as well. http://bit.ly2kkm9rh. Mortgage tax fight tests cloud of home industry. The power of the real estate and home building industries is being put to the test in a fight with Republicans over a key tax break for homebuyers, the mortgage interest deduction. The National Association of Realtors and the National Association of Home Builders (NAHB) worry the new tax reform plan from President Trump and congressional GOP leaders will undercut the deduction, and the groups are vowing to use their considerable political muscle to save the benefit. Since 1913, Congress has provided an incentive in the tax code to buy a house. We as a society and as a country decided long ago that home ownership stabilized communities and increased involvement, said Jamie Gregory, the deputy chief lobbyist at the National Association of Realtors. The mortgage deduction allows homeowners who itemize their returns to deduct interest paid on their mortgage from their taxable income, and is one of the most popular benefits in the tax code. The Hill's Megan R. Wilson reports on the group's efforts to protect the tax break. http://bit.ly2kkp7b9. Lawmakers try again on minors' pension bill. Coal country lawmakers launched a new effort Tuesday to pass legislation to shore up pensions for thousands of coal miners and their families. The bipartisan group led by Sen. Joe Manchin Joseph Joe Manchin sees fresh opening with Dems single-payer embrace. Trump steps up courtship of Dems. The Hill's 1230 report. More DWVA introduced a new bill that would use excess funds meant for mine cleanups and borrow some general Treasury money to pay for pension checks. The effort revives the heated debate over whether and how to bail out the United Mine Workers of America's UMWA pension fund, which is in danger of going insolvent due to a rash of coal mining company bankruptcies that have reduced the money going into it, putting more than 100,000 beneficiaries at risk. Since the pension program originated from a federal government effort, coal state lawmakers see it as a federal responsibility to keep it solvent. It's time that we keep our promise, that's all we're asking for, Manchin, who is running next year in one of the Senate's toughest re-election battles, said at a Capitol Hill news conference with retired miners and allied lawmakers. The Hill's Timothy Kama takes us there. http://bit.ly2kk1 report. EU to order Amazon to pay millions in back taxes. The European Union will order Amazon to pay several hundred million euros in back taxes on Wednesday, the Financial Times reported on Tuesday. The EU's enforcement arm, the European Commission, opened up an investigation 3 years ago into a partnership between Amazon and Luxembourg that allowed the e-commerce giant to shield some of its assets from taxation. The Financial Times report did not say how much Amazon will be ordered to pay. The fine would be the latest action Europe has taken to try to rein in American tech giants. http://bit.ly2kk3ali. Write us with tips, suggestions, and news. Slain@thehill.com, Benedum@thehill.com, and Yagoda@thehill.com, and Nellis@thehill.com. Follow us on Twitter @SylvanLane, @VicofTheHill, @Najagoda, and @Nivalis.